Alright, so I've been really awful at making videos. It's been a really hectic week. I did a sale in Barhead. It went very well. There's a lot of really cool people there. And then I have the Royal Bison coming up this weekend and the Central Alberta Crafting Critter sale. So a ton of prep work. I've been firing my gas kiln like crap ton. And the frogs started making noise, and when you hear the frogs, that means that everything has thawed enough. And so we uncovered the garlic, which I've decided that I want to become a garlic farmer now because it's already growing, and it's already like, some of them are like 4 inches tall already, and it's freaking the 1st of May, which is pretty wild. We still have a bunch of prep work to do for our regular garden area. I had to take off all the landscaping fabric that I didn't take off. But I'm going to wait until I can grab my aunt's rototiller. And then when I take it off, I'm going to rototill where all of the rows are. I found that last year when we had the landscaping fabric and left the grass in between, it actually made a huge difference in keeping the moisture in the ground. So when we were really dry last year, it wasn't an issue for watering our plants, and we didn't have to water our plants a ton because the grass keeps the moisture in. So we're going to try to do like reduced rototilling. Obviously, like we're going to try to do just a little bit, just easier for the plants to take root. And then beside the garlic, I was thinking about doing some planter boxes because I just got some Jerusalem artichokes in, and I'm amped to plant those. However, I don't want them to end up like my horseradish, because if you didn't know, horseradish likes to take over everything. And the horseradish was planted in my garden before I got here, and then it got rototilled in a few times, and I could be a horseradish farmer at this point because there's so much horseradish that grows in my garden, and I do not want my Jerusalem artichokes to do that if I forget to pick a couple, so they're going in a planter box. Anyways, we're dealing with a ton of forest fires out here right now. Scott's been working his ass off as a firefighter, taking care of all of it. It's been pretty quiet, but hectic and busy. Prepping the water pump because we've got a little pond over there, which is where you can hear our frogs. So we prepped our water pump, just in case. I don't think the fires are gonna reach us, but it's better be safe than sorry. Make sure we have a water pump so we can pump water, so we can spray down everything if we need to. So I started cleaning up everything in the garden. I'm really bad at doing it in the winter because I'm so worn out at the end of harvest season that I just don't want to clean anything up. I'm going to work on that for next year because it drives Scott a little crazy. But as you can see, all my tomato cages are now out of the ground, which is a thing. Tomorrow I'm going to try and pull all of the old tomatoes out of here. And then when I pull all the old tomatoes out of here, the plan is, so I welded this up a few years ago. It's a great frame, and then we just strap a bunch of plastic to it, but we rotate it around the garden, so it's gonna go that away, I'm pretty sure, unless I decide to plant my grapes that I'm getting over there. Haven't decided where I want to put my grapes, but they are good for -40 here, so the grapes would have to stay where they stay, and if we don't do this over there, we'll just move it to the side. Started a lot less for starters this year in my house, which is causing me a lot of anxiety, but I'm trying to not bite off more than I can chew because I tend to do that every year, and it's going to be a very busy summer. However, I cleaned out this greenhouse completely today, raked it up, got all the landscaping fabric up, folded it up. And then I was thinking about getting hard plastic for the top of this. We'll see. I'm not sure about hard plastic. We do get hail out here. We haven't been graced by the hail, but I know my grandma's about a half hour away, gets a shit ton of hail, and it destroys a lot of her stuff, and I'm scared to put hard plastic that costs a lot of money on something that's going to get destroyed. But, and it's hard because when we get a shit ton of rain as well, it just sags everything in. But rototill this up. Oh, and then for our garden, we are going to, so over here is usually for squashes. There's Bonnie over there with her new little calf. I gotta start milking her next week, and I am wildly excited about that. But so instead of squashes this year, we have quite a big, like, oh goodness, Canadian thistle, Scottish thistle, anyways. Thistle, we have a friggin' thistle problem, and it gets everywhere, and this whole place just gets overtaken. And we found that when we plant a bunch of potatoes, we don't have as much of a thistle problem. So we are going to attempt planting potatoes over here. However, I do want to plant a bunch of squashes because I like feeding my pigs squashes in the middle of the winter. Also, canned squashes are pretty good. And then, so that's the whole garden work up. The cows, I'm very excited. I start milking her next week. We were leaving calf on her for 2 weeks. That's general opinion of people saying that's what we should do, so then the cow gets enough colostrum, which is very important for the calf. Helps with development and all those things. But he is the friggin' cutest. Look at him. Scott wants to call him Oreo. I am undecided on a name. He's pretty cute and pretty spotted. And Bottie's actually a pretty good mom. Better than I thought she was going to be, actually. However, I'm like wildly excited for dairy products, and I want to make a bunch of cheese videos. And now that we moved our kitchen upstairs, I see that being more of a thing to be able to make videos. Milking station's great. I'm waiting on a couple of markets to be done so we can buy some roofing or figure out a different roofing. I'm not quite sure, but it's great. Oh, there's some deer in the field over there. You can't see them. Our wildlife here is like absolutely incredible. They're pretty amazing. So the kiln is getting really hot. I only got the kiln loaded up at like noon today after I glazed and loaded everything because I was so exhausted yesterday. I didn't think that I could actually do anything else. But as you can see, it's getting pretty red hot in there. And once I start to see color, then it's very close to me putting it in reduction. It's not too far off. So I've got a little port here. Throw my thermocouple in, and then I turn on my old pyrometer. So I'm a little bit, I go rogue a lot of the times, and I don't actually write down anything. But the last couple of firings, I have actually written stuff down. And I've actually found it improving my firing schedule. I also redid the inside of my kiln. There's this thing called a bag wall. And the bag walls basically protect your work in there from the flame. From the direct flame anyways. And I followed all the photos that I had from the previous owner of this kiln before I had broken it down. And then I reassembled it here. Didn't have a lot of like in-depth directions. So I was going by the photos, and they were not entirely correct. It's how he fired the kiln, not how I fire the kiln, and every kiln has a mind of its own. So I took some of the bag wall out, and it's actually made my kiln firing way more even. I wasn't getting enough heat underneath the bag wall, so the bag wall would be here, and the bottom shelf would be here, and there would still be stuff underneath here, and there wasn't enough airflow. So when I was trying to hit cone 10, I wasn't actually able to, at least down there. And it was like a waste of space. Like, why are you firing your kiln and not being able to use your bottom stuff? Or you fire the bottom stuff and you have to refire it. Not my cup of tea. So I just did it, and it's working great. I just turned up the front burners at like 8:43, and right now it's like 9 something. It looks like the kiln is sitting at 100 degrees hotter. So it's 9:20. I checked this kiln at 8:43. So 9:20. And you can find different firing schedules and what works best for you. I try not to go, if I'm going 200 degrees Fahrenheit an hour, generally I'm happy. I want to go a little bit slower through quartz inversion, which is closer to like 900 to 1,000. And then I want to hit body reduction at between cone 010 and cone 08. And I want to stop my body reduction before it hits 950 Fahrenheit. And that works the best for me. So at 920, we are at 1458 Fahrenheit. And honestly, invest in a pyrometer. It's like a couple $100, but like, seriously, the best investment. It's off by a little bit, so like when I hit temperature in my kiln, it's saying it's a little bit lower than that, which I can work with. However, usually I'm very tired at the end of it and a little confused, and I always forget that. But since I've been writing it down, anyways, so 793 Celsius. So I go back to my schedule. I'm gonna see when I hit 793, and I had turned up the burners at 776 last time Celsius. I'm sorry if I'm flipping back and forth from Celsius and Fahrenheit. I'm a confused Canadian. That's my only excuse. Okay, I'm gonna turn up the front burners. It's still moving up at like a pretty good pace, but I would like to speed it through a little bit because I'm gonna try to fast fire this kiln. So once again, every kiln fires completely differently. Electric kilns are pretty consistent. Natural gas manual kilns are not consistent. I mean, they're consistent for whichever one you're using. So you can watch my video about how I fire my kiln. However, it's not gonna equal over to your gas kiln quite. Unless you're firing a blow, and then those should be pretty consistent. But who's got $500,000 to spend on a kiln? I sure don't, because I'm a potter. Anywho, I also have canned deer going inside. And basically, this is how hectic my everyday life is. And it is definitely on the slightly more pressurized side. But I got distracted by making a video. I wanted it a very like specific, I'm gonna call it a toggle. This burner's really hot. So I did pork, no, not pork, why did I say pork? I did beef and deer, and I cured it for the last like, I'm gonna say 5 to 6 days. I really should have only done it for like 4 days. However, life, forest fires, hecticness, markets, get in the way. So I rinsed it off, patted it off, canning it. I'm sure it'll taste great. We like using it as sandwich meat. Corned beef, corned deer. Very good. Thanks for following along with my wild and wacky week. I really love sharing what I'm doing with you, and I really hope you like the progression of garden. I'll post some more videos in my YouTube stories about how everything comes out of the kiln, and I'll make sure to try to post some videos for that next week. And I'll include some videos of the royal bison and some of the rad artists that I get to go hang out with for the weekend. I'm kind of upset that I'm not going to the Central Alberta Craft and Critter Sale. Personally, I'm not, but I'm sending my mom because she is an MVP and she is willing to help me because I double booked myself. I really wanted to go to the craft and critter sale, but I would end up coming home with a goat, and Scott would not be very happy with me. Cheers! If you like my content, follow and subscribe, and like all the things down below. I'd really appreciate it. The social media stuff is hard, but you all make it a little bit easier. Bye!